Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the bill.
To the bill.
In Oregon, there are approximately 130,000 undocumented residents. About 18,000 of them are kids. And the Willamette Week recently published an article indicating that, that this community of people has paid roughly $81 million a year in taxes in Oregon. In my job, when I'm not a legislator, I work for the Public Defender's Office in the Metropolitan Public Defender, and the mission of that office is to protect the civil rights and the dignity and the liberty of very vulnerable people. And a portion of the work that we in the office do has to do with people who are undocumented immigrants. And I will tell you that based on knowing the attorneys in our office and talking to community members about the experience of undocumented immigrants right now in Oregon, we are creating one of the most vulnerable, acutely at risk of exploitation and abuse groups of people by virtue of the way that the administration's new executive order is being enforced. There are domestic violence victims who are afraid to come forward. Sometimes if you're a domestic violence victim and you call law enforcement for help, both parties end up with a citation on their records because it's a little unclear what happened. But people are worried that if they call law enforcement for help, or even if they go to a shelter, their name could be entered into a system that would cause them to be flagged for deportation. There are people who have been sexually assaulted who are afraid to get help because they worry that if they come forward, they could get flagged in some court docket for deportation. In the Multnomah County courts, there have been ICE officials present who are making people afraid to show up for their court appointments, who are making attorneys afraid to even have their clients represented in person in court. It has such a chilling effect on people's ability to enforce their rights. What if you're undercompensated or not paid at all for work that you've done? Can you go to court and get help? What if you are a school kid? I heard a story just today that there are school kids who qualify for free and reduced lunch who are going without food because their families are afraid that if they sign up for the free and reduced lunch program, their kids could somehow get flagged and their family could get flagged for deportation. I think the risk is not that we're creating a class of people who are going to live somehow above the law. I think the risk, and this bill helps address this risk, is that we're creating a class of people who have no voice to be protected when their rights, when their dignity, when their personhood is trampled on. And I don't think that aligns with the Oregon that I want us to create. And so I strongly support this bill because we must protect the ability of extremely fragile and vulnerable people to seek justice, to seek help when they need it, and to continue to contribute well in our communities. So I urge an aye vote.